Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Banking and Financial Services campaign. I'm Rachel Hicks. The last few years have brought an explosion in the number of fintechs taking advantage of open finance. The free-flowing exchange of consumer financial data increased convenience, however, has not only led to increased privacy and security risks to consumers, but risks the entire financial system. Regulated entities are storing, accessing and reselling large amounts of financial data, including consumer users' IDs and passwords, often without permission. So how can we ensure a safe, fair and beneficial system of open finance? Joining me to discuss this is Anil Mahalaha from Akoya, the company which brings reliable, accurate and secure customer data to the fintech world. Anil, welcome to the future of banking and financial services. Now, privacy and security risks, customer data stored without permission, these all sound like serious breaches. Can you tell us how grim the situation is?
We believe in Akoya that this is a very serious issue. Since the pandemic, the explosion of fintechs out there, the consumers are using a lot of online applications, and the online applications, they need data. All of that data comes from the banks through intermediaries called aggregators, and the aggregators not only store the data, but they also store the passwords. If this database ever gets compromised, we believe that this is a serious threat to the US financial system, and in Akoya's view, this is also a national security issue.
So you fear that the database held by the aggregators may be vulnerable, and this could be even a national security risk. Have the consumers and businesses been aware of these risks?
I would say the consumers are unaware of the risks. The fintechs are also unaware of the risks. The fintechs use intermediaries called aggregators to get the data, and these aggregators, they go and scrape the data, they cleanse the data, they normalize the data. So it is beneficial for the fintech app to get the data, and also as a consumer, they get the service they're looking for. They can get the net worth, they can do payments online, they can get their credit decisioning, they can get mortgages. So the consumers are happy, the fintechs are happy, but they're unaware of the risks behind the scene. And the risks behind the scene is this data is being categorized, it's being sold, it's being monetized, their username passwords are being stored. And there was a recent survey by the clearinghouse back in 2021, I believe December 2021, that found out that 80% of the consumers are unaware that their aggregators, in the middle of this chain between their bank and the fintech app. So it is a serious issue, and 24% of the users didn't actually know that the data was being sold in a secondary market.
If the risk is so high, how can it be treated in such a blasé fashion?
Since the explosion of the fintechs, about 3 years ago, the financial institutions and the U.S. financial regulators out there and the Consumer Protection Bureau, they have realized the enormity of the problem, the enormity of the scraping and all the data that is being gathered. So now some of the states, including the Financial Protection Bureau, is looking at enacting regulations that can protect the consumer, that can protect the financial system, and also not curtail innovation or competition among the data recipients.
So fintechs should obviously avoid the old ways, but they need the data. So how and from where can they get it? What replaces the aggregators? In
the recent past, in the last few years, there are new technologies that have come along: API technology, financial grade API technology, OAuth technology, and OpenID Connect Foundation technology. So all these technologies enable a better, a safer, a more secure, and a permissioned way to get the data, and not the old way of screen scraping. And so the consumer is actually directly logging into the financial institution and not giving their password to any intermediary. And a platform like Akoya has implemented all of these technologies. In addition to that, there's a standard in the US called the Financial Data Exchange Standard, and the Financial Data Exchange Standard standardizes on the data schema, on the API. So if you implement all of that, get past the old ways of screen scraping and onto this safe, secure, and permissioned way of getting data.
You propose to leave behind the traditional methods, especially the aggregators. You also advocate APIs, but some of the banks may not even have them. What's your solution? How does Akoya help?
Akoya has built a playbook, and the playbook goes over the business aspects of implementing these technologies, the benefits of doing it, what data is required, how to set up a permissioned access. So Akoya has built this playbook that Akoya goes out and educates the banks who don't have this technology and helps them implement the technology. And one of the ways we help them implement the technology is by partnering with consulting companies out there that are well versed in open banking, open finance, that are well versed in FTX and all of these technologies. So then Akoya recommends the bank to hire one of these, whichever one they want, to implement the technology. And so those are for regional banks. But a lot of the small banks, and including the regional banks, the third way to do it is to use a core provider. And a lot of these banks are already using core providers. And core providers have already implemented APIs, OAuth technology, and they are on the Akoya network. So all the data recipient has to do is connect to the Akoya network, and they get access to hundreds of these banks, and they get the data through these new mechanisms that does not include screen scraping.
Perhaps you could give us an example.
Well, data is king is the only thing you need to remember, that you have worked really hard to create this fintech app. You have worked really hard, spent resources, spent money, and created this nice thing, and you need the data. But you don't need to create an intermediary in the process who have vast data lakes of data, vast data lakes of username passwords. That is this, like we talked about, a threat to the U.S. financial system, in Akoya's view, could pose a serious threat to the national security. And so as a fintech, what you need to know is, do you need the data? And there are better ways to get the data, not involving these traditional screen scraping intermediaries, but a pass-through platform like Akoya, where we can get you the safe, secure, permission data that we do not store, that we transform, and then we give that data to you. And now that's the real business you are in, is providing the service. So then you can apply the secret sauce to the data, and you can enrich the data, and you can provide the service to the consumer who's coming to you. So data is king.
This was Anil Mahalaha from Akoya.